Howdy, this is Lemmy with RevZilla TV, here to talk to you today about HeliBars, handlebars, and risers. You should be checking out a set of HeliBars for your bike if you want a more comfortable hand position on your motorcycle. Now these things are currently being cranked out for a very wide variety of bikes. At RevZilla.com you're going to see these primarily being geared towards sport bikes, touring bikes, as well as sport touring bikes. Use the bike finder though to find the stuff that's going to fit your bike. These things are exceedingly application sensitive. Installation on these is probably going to ring in at a 2-bearder on our BSD or beard scale of difficulty here at RevZilla. Most of you will need to do some advanced wrenching in order to get these onto your sled, but you're not going to have to do any fabrication. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. Let's get right into things. Before we even kick off about any of the products, let's talk about the name. These things are HeliBars, not HeliBars. The name comes from heliarc welding, the old-timey name for TIG welding. The helium gas that was used in order to shield things during the welding process was taken out. They took that first half of that and just applied it to their product. So it's HeliBars. So HeliBars, realistically, for most of you out there, are going to be all sorts of different products. We said that it's going to be handlebars and it's going to be risers. It's going to be all sorts of stuff. We have a smattering of things here up on the table. I'll run through for you in just a second. But you should realize that HeliBars really is selling you a solution. They're not selling you parts so much as a solution. Just keep that in mind. Now, any of you who have done any type of long distance riding know that comfort is key. You cannot go a long way on your motorcycle if you're not comfortable. I've ridden some real death traps, I've been on some stuff, I can ride almost anything for 100 miles, but once you start stretching out and you want to do those big mile days, you've got to be comfortable. And sometimes the difference between being comfortable and being uncomfortable can be just a few degrees or a few inches, just a little bit here and there. A little bit of tweaking of a factory setup usually will get most people in the right zone. So this is where HeliBars comes in. Like I had said, you're buying a solution from these guys, not so much parts. Anybody can, change their hand position on a motorcycle. The problem is it requires either a massive amount of fabrication work or you got to cobble something together that doesn't look that hot and might not work all that well. HeliBars provides you everything you need in order to change your hand position on your motorcycle without doing any fabrication. You don't have to come up with any solutions. They've done all the homework for you in order to put your hands into a more comfortable spot on your bike. So you can see up here in front of me, I've got a couple things here. I want to walk through some of these applications that are bike specific and show you sort of the range of things that's out there. You should know that you're going to see a couple different names of products and lines with HeliBars. You're going to see stuff like TrackStar, you're going to see Touring Performance, you're going to see LST, which is Luxury Sport Touring. Don't get bogged down by the names. The names are really just describing the type of bike that the product is intended to go on. So for instance, TrackStar stuff tends to be clip-on and clip-on based items. So there's not going to be 14 different lines for you to choose from. So don't get too mired down in the name. Just throw your bike into the bike finder. We're going to show you the stuff that's going to be applicable for you. So getting back to that TrackStar stuff, you can see down here I've got a set of clip-ons. These are made to fit an R6 like the one you can see here behind me. These things are really finely made. Now, even though these are going to change your hand position only a little bit, you're just getting a couple degrees and you're getting a couple, just a few fractions of an inch out of position from your stock setup, it's going to be much more comfortable. Sometimes just the tiniest tweak is what you need in order to make yourself a little more comfortable as you're riding. Now, if you check this thing out, really finely machined, one of the things I really appreciate, you'll see an L and an R in here. You're not guessing, you're not playing a guessing game as to how to install these. They make it very, very simple for you. You'll notice too, they have clamshell location holes already put right in here. These are really nicely machined. And then you can see also too this silver powder coat on here. It's going to look like a very stock installation, which is where I think HeliBars really shines. These things look stock. They use as many stock components as they can. Nothing on here looks out of place. And when we talk about that stock look, you should also probably know HeliBars is the OEM handlebar supplier for Modus motorcycles. They're making good stuff. This is top-notch quality. And again, it's going to blend in well with your bike and it's not going to look like a homemade cobble job. Moving on down the line here, you can see they've approached the hand position setup a little bit differently for an item like the Kawasaki Concourse. You can see these rather large riser blocks they have here. So what they're doing with these is moving those riser handlebar combos on the Concourse just up a little bit with these blocks. It's a pretty elegant solution to a problem that doesn't need a whole bunch of re-engineering. This is a very subtle way to get that hand position changed. Again, keeping your bike looking nice and OEM. One of the other touches I like here, you see this hardware here. You're going to need extended sophisticated hardware in order to do this. Now, I promised you no fabrication, and that's what HeliBars is delivering for you here. They've done all the homework. They include everything you need right down to the nuts and bolts. You're not going to be, running around the hardware store trying to figure out how to make this work. You're getting everything you need in one box. Now, as you may have seen on here too, this ram ball, this is not obviously like a factory setup. They have the addition of a ram ball, and you're also going to get these things with a powerlet outlet on here, especially for somebody who's rocking around on a concourse, a sport touring bike. You're probably doing long miles. You have a couple gadgets and accessories. This is a great setup. While you're already in there, with your plastics torn off, this is a great way to kind of upgrade your motorcycle. Again, keeping that subtle stock look. Moving down the bench here, we're looking at a setup here for an FJR. Now, HeliBars approaches this just a little bit differently. The bars and the risers kind of move up as an entire unit. You can see this thing is pre-threaded for you. Again, finished in that nice powder coat. Looks very close to OEM. It's a great looking piece, but one of the things I think that really shines with the FJR setup is this puppy right here. This is your hydraulic line extender you're gonna need for the brakes. Try finding something like this on your own when you have your bike half ripped apart. It's absolutely maddening trying to figure this out. Instead, HeliBars has done the homework for you. Again, you're getting that engineering, you're getting the benefit of their experience. They already had their guys ripping their hair out with a bike all torn apart to make sure that you don't have to do the same thing. One of the other things that really stands out too, again with HeliBars, and this is going to come with everything you've got here, are the instructions. The instructions are absolutely top notch. They discuss the teardown process as well as the rebuild, and then you're also going to notice too, most of these have color photos in them. So you're going to be getting something that both is visually walking you through the job as well as instructionally. You're going to have everything you need to complete the task. Finishing things up, you can see over here we have some LST Horizon bars. This setup is for a Goldwing. Now this is a crazy setup. You're doing lots of work to get this onto your motorcycle. We'll talk about installation in just a little bit. But again, they recognize here that a lot of Goldwing riders are not necessarily comfortable with the stock setup. Those handlebars are not adjustable in any way, shape, or form. So the crux of the LST Horizon setup right here, I think, is this 3-axis adjustable setup. This is going to hold your handlebars. You're adjustable on this axis right here, as well as right here, and then you've got a 3rd axis for adjustment here. If you can't get comfortable with one of these on your Goldwing, you can't be comfortable on a bike. You should probably just trade it in for a Honda Civic. In all seriousness though, let's talk about installation. Now, installing any of these products is going to be reasonably difficult. You have to have some modicum of wrenching ability. I'm not going to stand up here and lie to you and tell you it's a very quick install. It's not. Especially with bikes, again, where you're taking off a fairing like a Goldwing, you're going to be doing a little bit of work to get these onto your motorcycle. But you're not going to be doing any fabrication. No purchase of additional parts. You're not going to be trying to figure out what it is you need to extend your lines, your electrical cables. Anything you need is covered in the direction. So I think what you're getting here is, again, you're gonna wind up with a full solution. So the installation is going to be hard in terms of turning wrenches, but because there's no fabrication involved, I don't think too many people should be very scared about getting into this themselves. The support is wonderful. Talking to the folks at HeliBars, if you get into a jam, is not difficult in the slightest. Of course, we can always help you here at RevZilla if you wind up a little bit stuck. But again, if you're not unfamiliar with turning a wrench, this is something you can and should tackle on your motorcycle. It makes quite a difference. Now, I really like what HeliBars has done here. I've actually rocked these on a couple of my bikes over the years, and I really do like them. They work very well, and again, just a minimum of fuss and muss with them. Now, my opinion is not the only game in town. Click on that info button, educate yourself a little bit about HeliBars for your bike. If you've got questions on something I didn't cover, or perhaps you're not sure on fitment, give us a holler. See us at RevZilla.com. You can always get a Gear Geek on the phone. 877-792-9455. We'll get somebody friendly and happy to help you. I'm Lemmy. I'm out of here.